We will go ahead and get started. Hi everyone, super excited for this coffee chat today. Really excited to get Danette to come and chat with us about second shift and finding joy and harmony as a working parent. A familiar face for a lot of us, for some of us newer. She will talk a little bit more about her career path. I think she can talk a little bit more about it better than I can. So without further ado, super excited again to have Danette, and I will pass it on over to her.
Well, thank you, Marie, and good morning, MarketStar. You're my people, and I'm so excited to be here today and share this space of the women in business community, and really appreciate the way that you are continuing to lead conversations that demonstrate our We Care value and the way that we show up for each other and learn together. And I am honored to be with you this morning, and secretly just want Tori to turn back on the playlist so that we can have a little dance party, because I was like bumping and it was the best way to start the day. So we may have to do that at the end. Help me remember, Tori. We'll turn the tunes back on and shake it out a little bit together. But like I said, I am absolutely grateful to be here and share this space with you and talk about a journey that I am kind of in an interesting space. I don't think you're ever done with the second shift, but I just launching my two girls and entering into a different phase of life, and have had a lot of time over this last year to reflect on what I've learned and interesting places where life and career and community have intersected, and hopefully provide you with wherever that's meeting you on your journey. You may be a caretaker as a working parent. Your second shift may be being a caretaker of extended family, of neighbors, of young children, of grown children, of your family here at work. You know, we all have different ways and circles that we have a second shift of life. And so I hope that this meets you where you are and really is a shared space to learn together as I share a little bit about my journey and invite you at different moments to reflect on yours and hopefully have a really engaging opportunity today. So with that, I will share with you on the first kind of image of when I think of the second shift. This is what I remember really well. I remember this moment that I found this meme, and I was absolutely in a T-Rex mom moment, and I laughed out loud. It totally shifted my energy from everybody do their stuff, you know, like it was just cramped and there wasn't enough time in the night, and I was irritated that no one was just like doing it without being asked, and you know, had 10 other things that I was supposed to get done in the workday and hadn't. And so I was in this moment, and I found this, and this meme hit me, and I was like, oh, it like went boom, and I just kind of hit a wall, and it made me laugh and realized, and this was kind of this earlier kind of school age kids, and realized that what I was really struggling with in the second shift. The weight of the second shift is real, but I was having an issue in my own head, right? The second shift and the reality of the second shift is somewhat this place where our worlds collide, and what we think in this perfectionist, idealistic view of what this career should look like, of what our family life should look like, of what our community engagement and social circles should look like. And we have this conflict that we carry in our second shift because we idealistically want this, oh, here's how cookies, everybody. How was your day? You know, and it really, the reality is, I don't even care if we have toilet paper, use a paper towel. Like, you know, like there's just this reality that we have to manage when there's so many demands. And so I really had to start to own where my weight of the second shift was simply the definition I was giving to what I should be. We can should all over ourselves, and comparing my reality to something that wasn't real. I can't have what idealism is in my brain because by definition it doesn't exist. It's what we create in our head. And what I was feeling of stress and the world and weight and how I wanted to show up, but just wasn't able to. So with that lens and a little bit of sharing of how I met the reality of owning the second shift and being a little bit more gentle and forgiving between idealism and perfectionism and reality, and beginning to embrace that, that's what the lens is I want you to personally own today. As I share some of my journey, I want you to also think of your journey, right? Because what we own, what we can control, is where these worlds collide, and the grace that we give ourselves and the way that we show up in each of those spheres in a really authentic way, instead of a I should be this way. It should be I can't be that for you and my family. You're right, you can't. We can't do it all. And so this reality is really a new space that I want to invite you to reimagine today. One that you can reimagine with more grace, with more patience and acceptance. That's seasonal, right? You're going to have really incredible growth periods in certain part of your face, and in other periods, it's like, hey, be chill for a minute. Be the caterpillar. You can't go full blossom yet. You can't go full butterfly yet, but always be learning and growing. So with that context, with that invitation, I will jump into and tell a little bit of storytelling of what my career journey is. And I thought for a minute about, I could kind of show you where these ebbs and flows were and where highs and lows were, and tell you a story. But instead, this is really what it looked like. My career journey has been what I thought would be versus a whole hot mess of taking side steps and finding opportunities in an intersection, and more than anything, being able to embrace the chaos. And so I'll tell you a little bit about my journey, just so you can see where this messiness, why I feel like this is the definition of my career journey. But I graduated kind of fast and started working in the tech environment. I originally thought, and for those of you that know me, this maybe won't surprise you, I wanted to be a social worker. And I graduated with a degree in psychology, and I started working in inpatient psych at a hospital. And it was really quick there that I realized, whoa, this is heavier than what I can carry all the time. But I love people. I love being able to bring people together, help them find meaning, but I don't know that I can do this. And I gotta earn some money and put my husband, I had just gotten married through school, and so life took a turn. That was my first turn. And I started working in the fast-paced world of tech. Novell, which is a little bit of a dinosaur that kind of dates me, was a new multi-million networking and mobile tech company. And so that was back, you guys, in the late 90s, right? I'm in the late 90s, but I'm taking you way back. And I started working in corporate events and marketing, and had incredible opportunities to bring people together in multi-city tours, in fun user conference, corporate events, partner summits. And I really started to see and sense the magic of when people come together in a space that invites shared learning, idea, you show up as you with your unique contribution. How can we solve for opportunity together? That really became my happy place. And so I was able to have an early career experience of managing large scale industry events, tons of operations and logistics, bringing multi levels within cross-functional units within a company together, and intersecting with clients. And so it was a really interesting teacher to me, but it also made me a little impatient with the rest of the world, right? We were not a tech-enabled world yet. And so as I emerged in my career, I was good, but it was clicking and working fast, and we had these systems built, and then I would come back to reality, and I was like, well, you guys aren't moving fast enough. So that T-Rex really ignited early, unfortunately, in my life. And I was able to then transition that into a place where I could come from tech, and I started seeing opportunities in my community in what I'll call my third shift of creating a space where I wanted my career and my family to help intersect in community, so that our experiences would be really robust and collaborative, and more than anything, connected. And So I started showing up in community. It wasn't that fast, and which is fine. It was great. It was human focused. It's the way it's supposed to be. But I started offering my skills where I could. And I integrated my family in all that I could do with that as well. And I want to pause for a minute and just ask you in the chat to share moments where what you do in your day job has also helped in some of your other spaces, in your social circles, at home, in your faith communities, in your hobby and interests, and places that you want to volunteer and show up. How has the skill of what you do every day at MarketStar and the other career places that you've worked show up in the other parts of your life? And I want you to start to, and I'll invite our women in business facilitators to interact with you online, but start to think and identify how there is an intersection on your career journey and your life, and see where those moments collide. And that's really where my career started to shift. And I leaned in and started to bring tech and business leadership into community circles. And I was able to help with several school initiatives, with community councils, with nonprofit boards. I started working and helping to build and formalize an early nonprofit that, if you're familiar in the Ogden community with the Goal Foundation, does a lot of get out and live type programming and lifestyle, healthy lifestyle events. Worked there for a little while and continued to volunteer the third shift and bring my family, my second shift into it, utilizing my first shift skills, right? I started to have this really interesting Venn of where everything came together, but you can tell that it was messy. It wasn't a straight line. It very much intersected. And then where I went from there was I had someone at MarketStar give me a call. That was working, Annie Johnson. She's no longer at MarketStar, but she said, hey, MarketStar is in a really interesting place and they're starting a nonprofit foundation. And I think that that would be an incredible fit with the tech and sales environment that we work with and our clients and what we're trying to do to make a community impact. And that brought me to MarketStar. And I'll let you go to the next slide. And then MarketStar, I had this incredible journey with all of you and with the values that guide us of creating a community nonprofit where we would give back, and really led by our value of we care. We created programs and partnerships and interactions where we made tremendous impact around expanding education, about building self-reliance. But really where I got to MarketStar came from this chaos.
And I would look at the don't, they're different. Like,
so that is what I was able to do for about 5 years, which brings me up to the last year, and all the while kept some consulting opportunities engaged. But really this journey was one that emerged by continuing to invest in skill development, by willing to say yes, by being willing to hold the chaos of my first, second, and third shift together, and finding the places where those intersecting moments created opportunity where I could make an impact in each one of those spheres and collectively, and where I could find connection. So it's a little bit of a different career journey. I went back when I turned 40 and got my master's degree because I felt like it was an important layer for me at that time, and just always was finding ways to feed that desire to be and contribute and intersect my family and my community. And at the end of the day, I guess if you were to say, well, what is it that you do? And I would say that I'm a strategist. I like to bring people together. I'm a convener of community, and where our work, where our life, and where our community comes together. And I like to bring that energy and care to any table that I sit at, regardless of where I'm at. And that has been a beautiful part of my journey. So with that, in that whole craziness of my T-Rex moments, of my wanting to hold this balance of idealism and what I thought it would be and how I really could show up, and growing capacity and capabilities while managing it all, you can hit the next slide, what I think I learned and want you to all reflect on more than anything is the power of your example in all of those circles that I just shared. Think for a minute who's not watching, or excuse me, who's watching when you don't know that they are. And as I held some of the added stress of being a working parent and a career, career focused in growth and community, what was happening that I don't know that I realized as much as it was, because I was more worried about all the failures I was experiencing and the places I wanted to show up better and do more. And oh, I could have done it, coulda, woulda, shoulda, and maybe that wasn't, that whole craziness that's in our head sometimes. That my cute girls were watching, right? And where I thought I was falling short, they were starting to see, whether through me or those around me, ideas of what they could become, of how to find and discover their own gifts, of how to work hard, of how to hold hard, of how to be stressed and be resilient through it. And Kate is my youngest. She just is finishing her first semester as a freshman in college and moving home this weekend. Was watching, and she was in it with me, you guys. Like when I would run campaigns, she was putting stickers on the shirts that we would mail out, and she was just in it with me. And so this is a picture of her entrepreneurial heart starting, making a diner where we would, come and shop, and she would own and have a business card. And on the left is a little writing I found of hers that I didn't realize she had written in her little Google Drive journal, which is very different than the journal I had growing up. But she had written a little note. She had found my MarketStar business card. And it inspired her that one day she could have a business card of her own. And that, and let's just be real, guys, for a minute, because she maybe had me elevated higher than my actual life and roles were, but it brought tears to my eyes to realize that really what I was is, as I was holding all of this as her mom, I was an example. And the message that I kind of highlighted here is you can do it. Keep this to remember that your mom is a badass, and I will own that. Whether or not it's true, I will own that my kids think that, because I want that from them every day of the week. Whether or not it's true, I'm still working that out. But that she saw me working my butt off, and that it was making a difference, and that it made it so that when we showed up, people, we said hi to them. We knew them. We had this community. We built work together, and we were showing up for each other. And I love how the end, she says, go kick some butt in the world. You got it, girl. You got it. And it was that positive self-talk. And where I thought I had failed her, I really had inspired her. We don't know how that happens in the lives around us, whether it's our own kids or their friends, or again, our circles at work, or women in this circle. What we do matters. How we show up matters. And giving ourselves grace in that process and being able to hold the weight of all of our shifts as we do it matters. And if we can focus on that power of example and why what we do matters, it really enables us to realize it's bigger. It's bigger than the stress, and we can carry it because we carry it together. We're not carrying it alone. And so I want you to pause for a moment and share in the chat a time that you didn't realize, and it's okay to be bold, girls, and women in business community, we can say, I didn't know that I was an example to someone and later learned, or you can share how someone was an example to you at any point in your journey, early on when you were a young, learning and being inspired, today where someone shows up for you and gives you the reason to believe, go kick some butt in this world. You got it. Go do it. And so I want you to share in the chat who or how, who has done that for you, or how you maybe done that and didn't realize it for others, so we can learn together. Okay, so now my 3 takeaways, because we're getting close on time. And they're like, oh, if you run short, I'm like, oh my gosh, you guys, I can talk like craziness talk. So my 3 takeaways that I've been weaving throughout. Takeaway number 1, redefine success. It is not an idealistic place that you reach, right? It is something that is in a daily moment. Today, this worked. I had to let go of this, right? Take the shifts colliding apart from each other, and let's integrate them so that we don't have to define success in separate linear lines. That we say, today we're going to integrate, and we're going to say, I was able to help out this person. I learned something new. I let go of a task and chose to sit down with my people longer, right? And I learned more, because that will have a return. That will have a return. And so we're going to redefine success, and we're going to integrate our shifts in order for us to reimagine how to have joy in the reality of, go back one for me, in the second shift. I want you to redefine and integrate. First picture is my grandmother Barrett, who in the 50s was a school teacher. She worked full time. That was not what women in her community did. The second picture is my mom. She's a microbiologist. She graduated as a valedictorian in STEM in the 70s. That was not what women did, right? There was no example for her to see, I want to be STEM in the 70s, you guys. That just didn't happen. And the last picture is me with my family in front of our shared You Belong mural outside of Ogden headquarters. And they were part of that with me. So as we integrate, as we redefine success, we can take the weight of the shifts and merge them together and accept that we can be enough in each of them. Second takeaway. Oh, I love what's being shared, you guys. We have to save some of these and share them back out on the channels. The invisible load. We have to name it and claim it. It can't just be in our heads, right? We have to be able to accept that our best is enough. And I loved this, because sometimes in my little T-Rex moments, I got a little sharp, right? And I would see this, what I felt like was perfectionistic second shift momism or parentism out there. And I would be like, I just shampooed and Febrezed my kids on their way out the door. I'm not really interested in your system, Debbie, right? And because I would have these moments where I'm just like, I'm doing the best I can. But again, you get to create what works for your family, for your system, for your circles, and name it and claim the invisible load. Allow you to name it. And when you name it, you get to let go of the weight that it is, because it's real. It doesn't have to be an invisible emotional load weight. It can come out in words, and it can come out so that we can claim it and we can identify what it is we need to change about it. Okay. Takeaway number 3 in our shared time together is joy is strategic and intentional. It is not accidental. You have to choose it. And in the moments when the only time I had to connect with my family was at the end of the day, we started what we called Soul Set at sunset. And I changed the time of it based on the time of year. And it's the moment of the day where we're going to stop whatever we're doing, and we're going to come together, and we're going to reset our souls and appreciate the light that was offered in that day. And we are going to pause and have a moment of connection, of care, of what happened in your day. And I had to let go of, I don't have enough of that time, to being really intentional and strategic about when we did have that time, how we could connect. And that Soul Set at sunset has been a very small but daily intentional moment where we could experience joy and connection together, where we could share what had happened in our day. And it became not very long, right? It's not very long, but it became a place where we could make joy intentional, where we could make connection intentional, not accidental. And that allowed me to start to release some of the guilt I carried by feeling like I should be around in all of the things. We started to create really intentional and joyful moments in our day. So with that, I want to pause. You can go to the next slide, and invite you to truly reflect and share and reimagine as you've listened today, as you've shared together online, what's one way you can reimagine what your second shift would be like and make room for more joy? And I know you've been sharing them, and we can start to kind of talk about them together, but that really is a daily commitment. As you hold the weight of the second shift, as you learn to reimagine the joy, and let go of what you can't do and really experience and step into what you can do, how can you reimagine and experience more joy? All right, I want to read some of these, you guys, and some of what you've been able to say about all that you go. Marie shared that you just on the car ride on a way home, just that daily consistent, what's the good, bad, and the ugly, and the ways that you share that with each other. I love that. And yes, I agree, Mia. Shea Hill is an amazing example in our MarketStar community of where we can have and hold our personal interests, our career interests, and our family, and be examples of all of those. I love what Joyce Donna shared about her aunts being a strong influence. Beautiful. We do have people in our lives that will be tremendous. And I'll just go to the next slide as you continue to share, and wish all of you in this circle a very happy Mother's Day. You are enough. You are co-creating with your people a beautiful, meaningful life of contribution that requires balance, the harmony of intersection. And I'll leave you with this: as you give yourself grace, as you give yourself like reward, you are a badass. I'll use my daughter's words, that you can show up in your own way, and that's enough. And the choice really is the same: to lead, to create work that matters, and find the magic that happens when we are lucky enough to co-create with people who care. And I invite all of you to reimagine and experience joy as you co-create the life you want, the one that works for you in your career, in your family, in your community, and all of those beautifully chaotic intersecting moments. And I'll leave that with you today. And I wish you all a very happy Mother's Day. Thanks, you guys, for letting me be.
Thank you so much, Danette. I knew the content. I don't think I personally, I knew it was going to be emotional, but I should have brought tissues to prepare myself. Thank you. Definitely hit home. I'm in the T-Rex mom mode myself with a kid going into kindergarten. So thank you for sharing your message. Really appreciate you coming back. And thanks everyone for joining, and we'll catch you next month for our next coffee chat.
Love you, people.